Warning: important information. All video stories presented here are created solely for informational purposes. The content within these videos is intended to inform and educate viewers. Please be aware that the information provided may not be exhaustive or up to date. It is essential to verify any critical information from reliable sources. The creators of these videos are not responsible for any actions taken based on the content herein. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to our channel, where books come alive on screen. Get ready for 5-chapter wonders that inform, captivate, and spark your imagination. Join us in this literary journey where every chapter is an adventure. The Unveiled Chronicles, a comprehensive history of MS-13 by Just Stories. Chapter 1, Origins in El Salvador. In the sprawling tapestry of gang history, every thread finds its beginning, and for MS-13, the story starts amidst the tumultuous backdrop of El Salvador. A small nation in Central America, El Salvador bore witness to a unique confluence of factors that would give birth to one of the most notorious street gangs in the world. Join us as we unravel the origins of MS-13 in the heart of El Salvador. In the 1980s, El Salvador was a country in turmoil. Civil war raged on its soil, tearing families apart and sowing the seeds of discontent. Amidst the chaos, young Salvadorans faced limited opportunities and a bleak future. Desperation pushed many towards the allure of gangs, providing a sense of belonging and purpose in a world marred by violence and uncertainty. The crescendo of MS-13's origins lies in the turbulent social climate of this era. Salvadoran youth, often marginalized and disenfranchised, sought refuge in small neighborhood cliques. Over time, these cliques evolved into a more organized and cohesive entity, taking on the name Mara Salvatrucha, later abbreviated to MS-13. The group's initial purpose was protection, a way for young people to shield themselves from the dangers of the streets and the brutality of rival factions. The climax of MS-13's origin story was marked by the gang's transformation from a loose association of neighborhood friends into a formidable force. As the civil war in El Salvador drew to a close, the country was flooded with weapons, and many gang members honed their combat skills during the conflict. The gang adopted distinctive symbols and rituals, including the notorious tattoos that would become a hallmark of MS-13 members. These markings were not only a sign of allegiance, but also a rite of passage, earning a place in a tightly knit brotherhood that extended beyond mere camaraderie. The newfound cohesion within MS-13 led to an expansion of criminal activities as they took on extortion, drug trafficking, and other illicit enterprises. This marked the turning point when the gang evolved from being a product of its environment to actively contributing to the cycle of violence and crime in El Salvador. The resolution of MS-13's origins in El Salvador takes us through the late 20th century and into the early 21st century. The gang's influence grew not only within El Salvador but also beyond its borders, as members sought refuge and opportunities in other countries, particularly the United States. The Salvadoran government initiated various crackdowns on the gang, attempting to curb its influence and dismantle its networks. However, MS-13 proved to be resilient, adapting to changing circumstances and continuing to thrive. In the finale of this chapter, we reflect on the enduring impact of MS-13's origins in El Salvador. The story of this notorious gang is intertwined with the history of a nation scarred by conflict and social inequality. As we move forward in our exploration of MS-13's history, we see how these origins laid the foundation for a global phenomenon, one that continues to shape the lives of countless individuals and communities. Chapter 2, Expanding Across Borders. As we journey deeper into the history of MS-13, we arrive at a pivotal chapter in the gang's evolution, the expansion beyond its origins in El Salvador. This is the story of how a small street gang, born amidst the tumultuous backdrop of civil war, grew to become an international phenomenon. Join us as we explore the incredible journey of MS-13 as it crossed borders, adapting and spreading its influence far and wide. The late 20th century witnessed a significant shift in the dynamics of MS-13. The civil war in El Salvador had come to an end, but the gang's thirst for power and opportunity remained unquenched. Many Salvadorans sought refuge in the United States, and with them came the seeds of MS-13's expansion. The crescendo of MS-13's expansion is marked by its early days in Los Angeles, California. Salvadoran immigrants, struggling to adapt to a new country and culture, found solace in the familiar bonds of the gang. This sense of belonging and identity, born from shared experiences and a common language, fueled the gang's growth. The climax of this chapter takes us to the streets of Los Angeles in the 1980s and 1990s. MS-13 underwent a rapid transformation, not only in size, but also in its criminal activities. The gang's criminal portfolio expanded, encompassing drug trafficking, extortion, and acts of violence. Rivalries with other street gangs, most notably the 18th Street Gang, escalated, turning neighborhoods into battlegrounds. As MS-13 gained notoriety in the U.S., the American authorities intensified their efforts to combat the gang. Mass deportations of gang members to Central America inadvertently contributed to the gang's international reach, as they took their criminal expertise and affiliations back to their home countries. The resolution of MS-13's expansion across borders takes us beyond the United States and into other Central American countries. The gang's presence began to spread like wildfire, leaving a trail of violence and destruction in its wake. From Honduras to Guatemala and beyond, MS-13 established footholds, recruiting new members and engaging in criminal enterprises that transcended national boundaries. Central American governments struggled to contain the gang's influence, leading to cooperation with U.S. law enforcement agencies in a bid to curb its expansion. However, the complex and fluid nature of MS-13 made it a formidable adversary, one that continued to adapt and thrive in response to evolving challenges. In the finale of this chapter, we reflect on the global footprint of MS-13. What started as a local response to the harsh realities of life in El Salvador had now become an international phenomenon. The gang's expansion across borders left a profound impact on communities, law enforcement, and immigration policies in the United States and Central America. As we move forward in our exploration of MS-13's history, we will see how this expansion shaped the gang's identity and influence, creating a complex web of affiliations that would challenge efforts to dismantle it. Chapter 3: Gang Warfare and Criminal Enterprise. In the annals of gang history, few chapters are as riveting and complex as the saga of MS-13's transformation into a formidable criminal enterprise. This is the tale of how a group born out of adversity and camaraderie evolved into a major player in the world of organized crime. Join us as we delve into the intricacies of MS-13's involvement in gang warfare and criminal enterprises. The crescendo of MS-13's criminal journey brings us to the 1990s, a tumultuous era marked by fierce gang rivalries and escalating violence. MS-13 found itself locked in deadly conflicts with rival gangs, most notably the 18th Street Gang. Turf wars and vendettas over territory fueled a cycle of bloodshed, turning urban neighborhoods into battlegrounds. During this period, the gang's criminal portfolio expanded exponentially. MS-13 became deeply involved in drug trafficking, extorting businesses, and engaging in other illicit activities. Its members became known for their ruthlessness, using extreme violence to enforce their dominance in the criminal underworld. The climax of this chapter takes us into the heart of gang warfare and criminal enterprise. MS-13's activities extended well beyond its original roots, as it infiltrated various sectors of society. The gang's ruthless reputation and tight-knit structure allowed it to establish a powerful presence in both the United States and Central America. This era saw the gang's involvement in transnational drug trafficking, human smuggling, and sophisticated money laundering operations. MS-13 members were not just street-level thugs, they had evolved into savvy criminals with an extensive network of connections, both within and outside the gang. Despite facing law enforcement crackdowns on multiple fronts, MS-13 continued to thrive, adapting to new challenges and maintaining its grip on the criminal underworld. The resolution of MS-13's involvement in gang warfare and criminal enterprise takes us through the 21st century. Governments, both in the United States and Central America, intensified their efforts to combat the gang's activities. High-profile arrests and prosecutions targeted key MS-13 leaders, disrupting the gang's hierarchy. However, the resolution also highlights the challenges faced by law enforcement. MS-13's decentralized structure made it difficult to dismantle completely, and the gang continued to recruit new members and expand its reach. The interplay between street-level violence and sophisticated criminal enterprises added layers of complexity to the fight against MS-13. In the finale of this chapter, we contemplate the lasting impact of MS-13's involvement in gang warfare and criminal enterprise. What began as a small group of young Salvadorans seeking protection had grown into a vast criminal syndicate with tentacles that reached far and wide. As we continue our exploration of MS-13's history, we will witness the ongoing struggle between law enforcement and the gang, as well as the toll that this battle takes on the communities caught in the crossfire. The story of MS-13 is far from over, and its role in the world of organized crime continues to evolve in the 21st century. Chapter 4: Government Crackdowns and International Response. In the relentless pursuit of law and order, governments across the Americas confronted a formidable adversary in MS-13. This chapter delves into the efforts made by authorities to crack down on the gang's activities, both domestically and on the international stage. Join us as we explore the intricate web of government crackdowns and the responses that sought to curb the influence of MS-13. The crescendo of government crackdowns against MS-13 takes us to the late 20th and early 21st centuries, a period marked by a growing awareness of the gang's expanding reach. Law enforcement agencies in the United States, El Salvador, and other Central American nations began to intensify their efforts to dismantle the gang's operations. This era saw the implementation of various strategies, from targeted arrests and prosecutions of gang leaders to community outreach programs aimed at preventing youth from joining MS-13. Governments, often working in partnership with international organizations, recognized the need for a multifaceted approach to address the gang problem. The climax of this chapter unfolds against the backdrop of high-stakes law enforcement operations and international cooperation. Government crackdowns, particularly in the United States, led to the arrest and imprisonment of key MS-13 leaders. The gang's hierarchy was disrupted, and many members faced lengthy sentences. Meanwhile, Central American governments, particularly El Salvador, sought to tackle the gang problem head-on. Mano dura or iron fist policies were implemented, resulting in mass arrests and controversial measures that aimed to dismantle the gang's infrastructure. At the international level, cooperation between governments and law enforcement agencies increased as countries recognized the transnational nature of MS-13. Information sharing and extradition of key gang members became essential tools in the fight against the gang. The resolution of government crackdowns and international responses brings a mixed bag of results. While arrests and prosecutions succeeded in disrupting MS-13's leadership, the gang proved to be remarkably resilient. It adapted to the changing landscape, decentralizing its structure to evade law enforcement efforts. Controversial policies, such as mano dura, faced criticism for their human rights implications, with concerns about the impact on communities caught in the crossfire. Nonetheless, governments persisted in their efforts to curb the gang's influence, recognizing the importance of addressing the root causes of gang involvement. In the finale of this chapter, we reflect on the ongoing battle between governments and MS-13. The story of government crackdowns and international responses is far from over, as authorities continue to grapple with the challenges posed by the gang. While progress has been made in disrupting MS-13's operations, its ability to adapt and evolve remains a formidable obstacle. As we move forward in our exploration of MS-13's history, we will witness how this ongoing struggle shapes the gang's identity and influence in the 21st century. The story of MS-13 is a testament to the complex nature of gang dynamics and the challenges faced by those determined to bring them to justice. Chapter 5: The Human Toll. Beyond the headlines and law enforcement efforts, the true cost of MS-13's existence is measured in the lives it has affected. This chapter delves deep into the human toll of the gang's activities, shedding light on the stories of victims, former gang members, and the communities left in its wake. Join us as we explore the profound impact of MS-13 on individuals and society. The crescendo of the human toll begins with the stories of victims who have fallen prey to the violence and extortion perpetrated by MS-13. Families torn apart, lives shattered, and communities living in fear. These are the consequences of the gang's ruthless actions. As we navigate through the lives of those touched by MS-13, we also encounter stories of redemption. Former gang members who have managed to break free from the clutches of the gang, often with the help of intervention programs and community support, offer a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. The climax of this chapter takes us into the heart of the communities that have borne the brunt of MS-13's activities. In neighborhoods where the gang holds sway, residents face daily challenges, from navigating the constant threat of violence to dealing with the economic impact of extortion. Law enforcement efforts, while necessary, also have unintended consequences, sometimes leading to the stigmatization and profiling of entire communities. The complex web of factors that perpetuates the cycle of violence and gang involvement becomes apparent as individuals struggle to break free from its grip. The resolution of the human toll exposes the resilience and determination of those affected by MS-13. Victims and their families often find solace in support groups and counseling services, working to rebuild their lives and heal from the trauma inflicted by the gang. Former gang members who have left MS-13 behind share their stories of rehabilitation and reintegration into society. Education and employment opportunities play a crucial role in helping these individuals break free from their past and build a brighter future. At the community level, organizations and activists work tirelessly to provide resources and support to those living in gang-affected areas. These efforts aim not only to address the immediate impact of MS-13, but also to address the root causes of gang involvement, such as poverty and lack of opportunities. In the finale of this chapter, we reflect on the enduring resilience of individuals and communities affected by MS-13. Their stories serve as a testament to the human spirit's capacity to overcome adversity. While the gang's presence has left scars, it has also sparked a collective determination to rebuild and thrive. As we conclude our exploration of the human toll, we are reminded that the story of MS-13 is not solely one of violence and despair. It is also a story of resilience, hope, and the unwavering commitment of individuals and communities to rise above the challenges they face. It is a story that continues to evolve as society grapples with the complex issues surrounding gangs and their impact on our world. Thank you for diving into the world of words with us. If you had a blast exploring this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share the bookish love with your friends, and make sure to subscribe for more amazing 5-chapter adventures.